Good evening. Tonight on Coyote News, President Barack Obama is finally coming to South Dakota, and one Minnesota company is in a lawsuit with the city of Vermillion. I'm Brandon Noel.
And I'm Bailey Millen. The Festival of Nations gave the community a taste into many cultures. The President's Awards banquet recognized outstanding coyotes, and a 5K fun run had tooth fairies filling the streets.
Plus, the women's softball team hit 14 home runs in their 3-game sweep this weekend, and the football team added 2 new faces to its coaching staff.
We begin with a developing story. The Vermillion Fire EMS Department responded to a call for a man who fell approximately 30 feet at the north side of the construction site at the Dakota Dome. First units on scene identified a male patient who was transported to Sanford Vermillion Hospital in critical but stable condition. A helicopter was requested to the hospital due to his injuries. His current condition has yet to be reported. And now the headlines with Heath Nimke.
President Barack Obama says he'll visit South Dakota next month. The president is traveling to Watertown May 8th to deliver the commencement address at Lake Area Technical Institute. President Obama will be just the 4th president to visit all 50 states during his candidacy. A small manned aircraft landed on the west front lawn of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. today. The U.S. Capitol Police are investigating the incident involving a manned gyrocopter. One person's been detained. The pilot is a Florida mailman who planned the flight to protest the Supreme Court actions and wanted to deliver mail outlining his complaints to lawmakers. And those are your headlines.
Despite misunderstandings in the planning process, nearly 50 people attended the Honor Diary screening. The documentary focuses on honor-based violence in Muslim societies.
The honor system in Muslim-majority societies is really the basis of a lot of harm that is perpetuated against women.
The concept of honor, it is very difficult to explain it to Western societies.
Honor is something that is carried and contained in women and is there to be guarded by men.
Raheel Raza, one of the 9 activists involved in the film, attended last week's screening held in the Muck Ballroom.
This documentary is a call to action to expose, educate, and eradicate. And we're at the first level, which is to create awareness and expose the problem. Once we expose the problem, we need to educate the masses that it exists and what can we do, and then we have to eradicate it.
Viewers were provided with further explanation from Raza on the controversial topic in a post-screening discussion sponsored by the Cross Media Council.
From Bahrain to Egypt, women have raised their voices and their fists in demanding universal rights.
The documentary has garnered international attention. It has been screened at over 155 college campuses, 80 of which were in the United States. For Coyote News, I'm Christina Dre.
IdeaFest is an annual event that celebrates student research, scholarship, and academic engagement, and is going on in the Muck right now. The 2-day event includes undergraduates and graduate presentations, performances, and displays. Anthony Gosch is live in the Muck with Chris Stockdale to give us an update on how IdeaFest is going and what's to come. Anthony?
Thanks, Brandon. IdeaFest is run by the Center for Academic and Global Engagement, and here with me is their Assistant Director, Chris Stockdale. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Essentially, what is IdeaFest?
Well, IdeaFest is our annual undergraduate and graduate symposium. It's a chance for students to show off the work they've done either in classes or on their own related to some academic content. A lot of it's undergraduate research, and other projects are creative scholarship.
Why is IdeaFest so important to the students?
I think it's a great way to show off really the diversity of what's going on, in and around campus. It's a great way for students to speak out about topics that they're really passionate about and really set themselves apart from the crowd by extending their learning beyond the traditional classroom environment.
How and why should students get involved with IdeaFest?
I think it's one of the real signature programs here at the University of South Dakota, so I think that's a great reason to jump on board and get involved. We have almost 500 students participating this year, so it's a great chance to get in there, put yourself out there, maybe step outside your comfort zone a little bit, but set yourself up for some real skills. I think employers are looking for this kind of thing lately.
Thank you so much. Idea Fest will be April 15th and 16th in the Muck Ballroom. Live from the Muck, I'm Anthony Gosh.
Thanks, Anthony. A deal between a Minnesota software company and a local business that aimed to bring hundreds of jobs to Vermillion has failed and results in an empty office building plus a lawsuit.
Eagle Creek Software Services was supposed to move into this brand new $4 million building last October. However, nearly half a year later, the building stands empty. Plans unveiled in 2013 estimated Eagle Creek would bring 200 new jobs to Vermillion initially and about 1,000 over several years. Nate Welch, director of the Vermillion Area Chamber and Development Company, which made the deal with Eagle Creek, says the tech company still has about 40 employees in Vermillion.
We did have absolute intentions, and we had a signed lease for them to be able to move into the building. Unfortunately, for reasons that we aren't able to comment on and we don't really understand, they have chosen not to move into there, and they've moved into a different office building in Vermillion that they're operating out of.
A lawsuit between VCDC and Eagle Creek is ongoing, and the building remains empty. Meanwhile, USD's computer science department, which planned to offer internship credit through Eagle Creek, is looking elsewhere for on-the-ground student experience.
So we are actively looking for employers to replace Eagle Creek.
Tran says the department is still open to working with Eagle Creek or with any other companies that could enhance students' educations. For Coyote News, I'm Katia Dushenko.
The lawsuit between Eagle Creek and the VCDC claims among the tech company owes the local business more than $150,000 in overdue rent and is currently pending.
Coming up next, with taxes season underway, we find out how students and staff are preparing. And one sorority used local fashion to raise CASA awareness. Stay with us.
Hey guys, guess what day it is? Anybody want to guess what day it is? Guess. Hey! Guess what day it is? Hey, boss! Guess what day it is? Oh, come on, guys. I know you can hear me.
3, 2.
It's News Day. It's News Day!
Did you file your taxes this year? State and federal taxes are due today. As a college student, you may not have had to file taxes this year, but you might be filing next year. The IRS site contains many articles that pertain specifically to college students' income taxes. Professor Thomas Davies says that there are some tax credits that students should keep in mind when filing.
If you happen to be paying interest on student loans, you can deduct that up to a certain amount, and that is a deduction for AGI, not an itemized deduction, so there's a better chance that you'll be able to claim that even though you don't have that $6,200 worth of expense.
The business and law schools provide a voluntary income tax assistance program each year that students can take advantage of when filing their taxes.
The International Club hosted the annual Festival of Nations that took place over the weekend. Coyote News' Carmen Susan attended the event held in the Muck Ballroom Sunday evening.
One of the main features of the festival is the food. 24 nations such as the Middle East and East Asia are represented, and attendees can enjoy the event with an entrance fee.
Food isn't the only reason to come out to the event. There is a lot more that takes place.
The evening is filled with dancing and singing, and more important, a celebration of various cultures here in rural South Dakota. The vice president of the club says it's more than just an international event.
So it's not only for the international students, but also for the people who want to get a taste of the international culture, what we are, how we are, and people who want to know more about international studies and all the abroad options.
During the festival, a recognition ceremony was held for graduating students for their academic achievement and contribution at USD. All of the proceeds from the event go to the Renard Scholarship Fund for international students. For Coyote News, I'm Carmen Susan.
Kappa Alpha Theta hosted their 4th annual Catwalk fundraiser this past weekend. The annual event raises funds for the Yankton Area Court-Appointed Special Advocate Program, better known as CASA. Last year, Kappa Alpha Theta was able to raise more than $6,000.
So what CASA does is, with the money that we raise, they train volunteers to represent children in the courtroom setting. So kids that are going, their families are going through the courtroom if they're in foster care, is helping them to get into safe permanent homes a lot faster.
This year's fashion show included clothes from Lot 2029, who was also selling clothes at the event. There was also a male model show, followed by a raffle and a silent auction with proceeds going to CASA. Coming up next, see how USD's professors are protecting the Missouri River. Plus, a robotics showdown had campus buzzing with high schoolers. Stay tuned.
USD's Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the Media and Journalism Department at USD and start your future now.
High schoolers put their skills to the test in a battle of the bots here at USD.
The 2015 robotic programming competition was held last Wednesday by the Computer Science Department. This was the first year of the competition at USD. High school students competed by programming robots to maneuver through mazes as fast as possible.
This year, 37 teams from 21 area high schools are competing.
The teams were given 15 minutes to complete each maze. Up-to-the-minute stats were projected for the competitors around the mock ballroom. 6 teams competed simultaneously, while the other teams made touch-ups on their robots. The individual teams had been working on their robots throughout the competition.
Just tried to build a robot that would finish the maze as fast as possible, and clearly we did a pretty decent job, I thought.
The top 3 teams received awards and various computer accessories as prizes. The top 10 teams also received a scholarship from the USD Computer Science Department. The Computer Science Department was happy to show off their program for potential students. Competitors had great things to say about the event.
It's very fun, and I think that anybody interested in programming should try it.
For Coyote News, I'm Andrew Helland.
On Saturday, USD's Pre-Dental Society hosted its Plaque Attack 5K run that took runners around Vermilion. The theme of the race was The Tooth Fairy Strikes Back, and participants were given wings and tutus to wear while running. The race started and ended at Prentice Park, and all the runners finished in under an hour. Over 60 people participated in the race and raised over $1,500 for the Pre-Dental Society.
While students may see the Missouri River as a place to have fun, USD professors and others are working to make sure it remains a safe place for the community and wildlife. Researchers from USD and other universities, as well as professionals from local, state, and federal organizations gathered last week to share their discoveries to the river and its management. The annual Missouri River Institute Symposium drew a crowd from across the region. Discussions ranged from artificial sandbar construction, fostering sustainable rivers, to helping wildlife thrive, and recent flood impacts. Event organizers say it helps researchers expand their knowledge of the river and its impact on the community and wildlife systems. Swimsuit season is upon us, so Andy Hartman gives us her views on working out.
So I've recently decided to try working out, like regularly, and it's going okay-ish. I'll be honest, going to the gym is hard. The hardest part might not even be the actual exercising, it's motivating yourself to actually stand up and go there. Normally I wouldn't want to spend my time at the gym, but if I'm paying all this money on student fees and my student fees pay for my gym membership, then gosh darn it, I'm gonna use it. And honestly, exercising isn't that bad. Like those stationary bikes, you're exercising, but you're not actually moving anywhere. And not moving anywhere is one of my favorite activities. The bad part about being on a stationary bike is the fact that you don't have to watch where you're going, which means you have a chance to look around and scope out the people around you. and wonder how on earth everyone but you looks good while working out. I'm surrounded by people who look like they're in a Nike commercial, and I'm sitting there in an old t-shirt and I probably look like death warmed over. I've come to the conclusion that the other people aren't really pushing themselves. If you look good while working out, you're not actually working out. I think we should all just agree to go to the gym while we all look awful, because then everyone will be in the same league. For Coyote Blog, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanks, Andy. Coming up after the break, the softball team hit their way to victories over Fort Wayne this weekend. Plus, the football team has a few new faces, and we have the latest. Stay with us.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, the USD softball team sweeps a conference foe, and a member of the team receives a national honor, plus learn who the two new coaches for the Coyote football team are, and in the Bauer Beat, Sean tells you why the Stanley Cup is the greatest trophy in sports. I'm Malachi Peterson.
And I'm Sean Bauer. Two USD track and field members break school records from last century, and Coyote News' Levi Goots is live in the muck with a member of the men's golf team to talk about the upcoming Summit League Championships. But first, the headlines. Heath?
Former New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez was convicted of first-degree murder earlier today. Hernandez was convicted for the murder of Odin Lloyd in 2013. The conviction of the first-degree murder mandates that Hernandez serves life in prison without parole. Duke freshman Tyus Jones and Justice Winslow joined fellow freshman teammate Jalal Okafor in the NBA draft. Jones, Winslow, and Okafor all led Duke to its 5th national championship earlier this month, and all three are expected to go first-round draft picks. And those are your headlines.
Coyote football is hoping to breathe new life into its program this year, starting with two fresh new coaches. Coyote News' Emily Niebrugge has the story.
With Marty Biaggi and South Dakota alum Colin Prosser added to the coaching staff, head coach Joe Glenn has already seen a new attitude begin to take effect for Coyote football.
Anytime you get a new coach, you get some new ideas, some new ways to look at things, other ways that people have done things where they've been successful, and then I think you just bring in a little new life. They're excited about a new position, a new job.
That new life is something the players have noticed too, like tight end Aaron Ramsey, who works closely with Prosser.
I'm glad they're here. They're going to help us out a lot. I mean, tight end, speaking from Coach Prosser, I know he's definitely going to help me out a ton with my blocking, and I'm sure Biaggi's going to do the same with the DBs, so I'm just glad they're here and glad to help us win some games.
While Biaggi will coach cornerbacks, Prosser will coach tight ends and offensive tackles. And after watching Coyote football for 28 years and coming back to USD, Prosser says he's pushing athletes to become technique sound.
There's a lot of talent there, so just fine-tuning some skills, but more importantly, just getting to play hard, and the little things will take care of themselves.
But most importantly, the new coaches are hoping to instill South Dakota pride within their athletes.
I grew up in Vermillion as a little kid. I've been watching Coyote football since I was a 2-year-old. So it means a lot to me. And getting those guys to understand what it's all about, the effort that we're trying to get out of them, and just take a little pride in what they do.
For Coyote News, I'm Emily Niebrugge.
The softball team saw a string of victories this weekend. The team went undefeated in 3 games against Fort Wayne last Saturday and Sunday. The Coyotes outscored the Mastodons 42-8. The games included 14 home runs, and USD is currently 2nd in the Summit League. The team plays against Minnesota today in Minneapolis before returning home for a weekend series against Omaha.
USD junior first baseman Ivan Minogue was named the Louisville Slugger and NFCA Division I National Player of the Week for the period ending on April 12th. Minook is the first Coyote softball player to receive this honor in program history. In 5 games during the week, Minook batted .824 with 3 home runs, 3 doubles, a triple, and 8 RBIs. Her 3 doubles broke USD's 22-year-old record for doubles in a season with 21, and she leads the entire country in that category.
The USD track team continues its trend of breaking school records as juniors Amber Eichhorn and Isaac Allen each broke records that had stood since the 20th century this past weekend. Eichhorn ran the 3,000-meter run in 9 minutes and 39.3 seconds, which is 10 seconds faster than the previous school record set by Tina Finsky in 1999. Allen also broke the school record for the men in the 3,000-meter run. His time of 8 minutes and 34.61 seconds broke the school record, which had been held since 1977. The Coyote track team will split up for 5 different meets this weekend and will look to continue their strong outdoor season. In this weekend's Bauer Beat, Sean tells you why a certain hockey trophy is the greatest trophy in sports.
The quest for the greatest trophy in all of sports begins tonight as the Stanley Cup playoffs officially begin. And yes, the Stanley Cup's the greatest trophy in sports, and here's why. First, it's got the history. It's the oldest trophy in all of professional sports in the U.S., and not only is it the oldest, but there's only one official trophy. That means that guys who win it this year hold the same cup previously held by legends Bobby Orr, Maurice Richard, and Wayne Gretzky. Second, its size. The Stanley Cup is huge, measures about 3 feet in height and weighs about 35 pounds. And finally, its traditions are what separate it from all other trophies. When the Stanley Cup is won, the captain receives the trophy, skates it around, hoisting it over his head, and then passes it along until every member of the team gets their turn. Pretty sweet. But the off-season tradition where every player on the team gets 1 day with the trophy is what sets it apart from the rest. They can do whatever they want with it, eat out of it, drink out of it, or take it back to their hometown and show it off and allow their fans to take pictures with the cup. That's my little brother and me there in the picture. And for me, that's what makes the Stanley Cup the greatest trophy in sports. And that's the Bauer Beat.
Thanks, Sean. Coming up next, we ask people how they completed their taxes. And a new Coyote Shorts comes out today. Stay with us.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
The Latino Student Organization is a all-inclusive student organization that focuses on bringing in Latino culture to University of South Dakota. We do fiestas, we do piñata parties. We also just hold potlucks where we cook and we just share Latino culture and food and just mingle.
April is pretty stressful for most people, and it's all because of a little thing called taxes.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students how they completed their taxes this year.
My dad did them for me because I'm a child and I never learned how to do that myself.
My family has an accountant, so I basically just pay them and give them all my information and they take care of it for me.
I had my mom do my taxes.
Parents filed it for me.
I haven't completed my taxes yet this year, so I have a few more days. My wife and I are going to sit down after the weekend and figure them out.
My parents did my taxes. I sent them all the forms that they needed, but they're the ones that sent them in. So I probably should figure out how to do that at some point.
TurboTax Premium Pro. It was kind of a hassle, but I'm kind of a nerd like that. So
my professors helped me.
I use TurboTax with my dad at home.
My parents did them for me.
I went to Tax Premier and they filed them for me.
My parents did them. I have nothing to do with the taxes.
My mom did them for me, but she did them online on some website.
With the school year wrapping up and people looking for a place to live for next year, it becomes pretty difficult to figure out where to call home.
On this week's Coyote Shorts, we take a look at some of the Coyote cribs around campus, and we managed to get a personal tour from 324 Elm Street.
Oh, hey guys. My name's Zach, and welcome to 324 Elm. Let me show you around a little bit. Kitchen. This is where we normally eat our food. Sometimes we even cook it. And in here we've got the master bathroom. We're still working on it. And now we have our very spacious living room where we have our discos. Now we have our living room where we watch TV and hang out with our friends. Sometimes they never even leave. And now we'll make the trek upstairs and show you around a little bit. Excuse that, sorry, cat had a little mess. And here we have our lovely balcony. Beer brats, anyone? Well, this is where the magic happens in my room. Got Motown over here, and then the Backstreet Rhythm of Youth. It's a great one. Got my Dirt Devil vacuum in here just because I like to keep it clean. Well, I hate to do this to you, but you guys gotta leave. I gotta study for finals.
A new edition of the Volant hit newsstands today. Pick up a copy to read about the Hoodie Allen concert and confidential informants to bust selling alcohol to minors. A 52-year-old French climber has scaled one of Dubai's tallest skyscrapers, relying on just sticky chalk and fingers to help him up the 75-story high Cayenne Tower in the Emirates glitzy marina area. Elaine Robert completed climbing the 1,007-foot high structure in just 70 minutes on Sunday. He had no harness and little space for his feet on the ledges of the tower, which actually twist as it ascends. Robert, who is often described as the French Spider-Man, is no stranger to scaling tall buildings. In 2011, he climbed the world's tallest tower in Dubai, using a rope and harness to comply with organizer requirements. It took him just over 6 hours to scale the over 2,700-foot wall in Burj Khalifa Tower.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you have a story idea you'd like to share, email it to us at kyotnews@usd.edu. Have a great night. We leave you with highlights from the women's softball victories. We'll see you next time.